Hey guys, what's going on? We got another PvP video here, and this time we are playing Enhancement Shaman, Destruction Warlock, Mistweaver Monk. The Destruction Warlock is actually one of my guildies. He plays a lot of solo shuffle, so we decided to try some threes together, and they went pretty well. The Monk is just a random pug that we brought in, but yeah, things went pretty well. If you didn't notice on my gear, I have a bit of a weird ring. It's actually a PvE ring from Vault of the Incarnates, the first boss. Basically, it has a bunch of verse and a little bit of crit, but it also deals bonus fire damage when you deal fire damage. So it actually does quite a lot of damage, and it's pretty great. There's also another one that I'm working on getting, which is when you deal fire damage, you have a chance to get an absorb shield. So those two are things that I have found that might be really good for PvP, but also there is a weapon called the Thorn Collar from Amir that will also work pretty well. But yeah, as for this comp, basically the Warlock is going to take all the aggro off of me, which is quite nice, so everybody's going to be focused on him, and I get to do whatever the heck I want, not worrying about dying too much, but like, that doesn't mean I'm not a target. It just means that if they make a swap, I have to be very careful. But other than that, basically, I am running Bloodlust, Sky Fury, and Stormweaver. Bloodlust and Sky Fury are to buff myself and Nothi for the damage, right? Because he scales very well with haste and critical damage, as well as using Stormweaver to kind of support everybody because I'm not the target, so I don't quite have to worry about having Burrow, but I do want to make sure I'm being helpful in the sense where I can heal a bit better, so Stormweaver works really well into that, and we also just got a buff to Healing Surge, so it definitely works out very well. But as you can see there, I was running around CCing, hexing, and stuff like that. So because all the attention is on Nothi and stopping all of his casts, I basically have free reign over when I want to cast and stuff like that. So I'm always going for hexes and stuff. So you'll see my my gameplay changes considerably compared to other times you've probably seen me play Enhancement, because I'm not under focus. I don't have to worry too much about casting, so, or where I am, so I can kind of push in. But there was a couple times where I made a mistake and died, so you still have to be careful in the sense, but it's not too bad. But anyways, the MMR we're playing at is around 1850, so it's not too high, but also it's not like super easy either. But this is also the first session me and Nathi have played together, so we're just trying to learn each other's quirks and stuff like that. But anyways, this match here we got Windwalker, Unholy DK, otherwise known as Walking Dead. Basically, I'm kind of staying a little bit back, as you'll see by my positioning. I'm kind of staying back away from a bit of the cleave, just so I'm not forcing the monk into worse and worse healing situations where he has to heal both of us considerably. And I'm just kind of supporting, not worrying too much about damage, but I'm still pumping a lot of damage because I can cleave with Flame Shock, and that's where a lot of damage comes from. Elementalist allows you to play farther back than most, so I'm not really a melee, I'm more of a half and half, kind of like a survival hunter, right? I don't have to worry about being in there all the time. I can sit back, you know, watch for the cleave, watch for the CC, make sure I'm not getting caught up in anything too crazy. But you can see here I tried running Counter-Strike. It didn't quite work out. Some players kill it real fast, some don't. So as you can see here, I'm sitting back. I get the Hex off. It was DR'd, unfortunately. Nothi's doing a great job at watching the Presevoker, getting his cast, and I lasso the monk. He gets 2 Chaos Bolts off. Just so much damage, scaring the crap out of them. We got a couple of defensives out of it. But here, the Prez goes for a sleep, and I wasn't paying attention, I guess, and didn't catch it. There's so many times I could be kicking, but here I knocked him off. He's disarming me, so I should be pulling back here in a second to purge off the nullification barrier. Yep, and then I'm gonna go for a hex. I know for a fact they're not gonna bother trying to kick me because they really don't want Nothi casting. If I eat a kick, that gives him more free reign to Chaos Bolt or Fear somebody, right? So that's where the greatness of this comp is. and just not being the focus is so nice. Not having to keep myself alive or anything like that. All I'm doing is focusing on dealing damage and controlling the enemy healer. But as you can see, I'm not doing a very good job as kicking. I really am sucking. I dropped a tremor there because I saw the sleep start going off and I thought it got off, but I guess it didn't, or maybe he stunned. And here I go for another hex. I'm not quite sure what's DRing it so hard because I do have 30-second hex, which means it shouldn't DR itself. So I must be DRing with paralyze or something like that. So it gets kind of fuzzy in some spots. Not playing with a warlock very much makes it very hard to understand, but I think for the most part, everything works out very well. I try and line up Bloodlust and Sky Fury with his Mortal Coil, and the reason why is because that gives you a couple seconds of free casting essentially. But here I drop Counter Strike, it does a lot of damage, and the monk's able to just fall over. So yeah, I really am enjoying playing this comp just because I'm not the focused, and I kind of get to do whatever I want, right? Even though like you can see by my damage differences, I'm just pumping. But a lot of these matches are melee cleaves, and it's kind of funny, as you can tell. So here we got Hero Cleave with a Resto Shaman. This Resto Shaman was doing a really good job at just keeping them alive without casting anything. And it is just crazy. So I was kind of watching for grounding totems and stuff like that, trying to not get cleaved, right? Because that's the big part of being caster melee, and especially being an enhanced shaman. I don't want to end up in a cleave scenario where they just randomly swap to me, right? Although we do have a Mistweaver who is great at swap healing, essentially, it's not ideal to force him to heal 2 targets. But so as you can see, I'm just watching for groundings, kind of watching my positioning. They're after me. I definitely shouldn't be running Counter-Strike here. I probably should have had Sky Fury instead. But here, I should be backing off and going for a Hex. Yeah, here we go. Dodge the kick and go for the Hex. Get that down. Drop Counter-Strike. And the Shaman ends up trinketing, which is pretty big. But this match goes on forever. Like it really does. So you can see here, you can see by the damage meters, I'm doing a lot of damage, but a lot of that is funnel from the pets of the Death Knight, right? So Enhancement excels at fighting pet classes, although they are very annoying. You get a lot of funnel cleave, pushing that all into one target, right? So it is pretty awesome to fight pet classes. So here I'm going to back off again, go for another Hex, get a kick. He grounds it. Okay, I thought he went for the kick, but nope. But yeah, as you can see, the Shaman isn't even casting. All he's doing is riptiding, using his stone walls very well. Like this guy was playing extremely well, playing back, not worried too much about pressure, just kind of playing the mana game, right? So here I kind of go over, I knock him and force him into a root. That forces a dispel. So that means he can't dispel the Mortal Coil, which is pretty big. So that gives Noth the free time to Chaos Bolt or anything that he wants to do. As you can see, our healer got banished behind the wall. So he had to trinket, then he comes in and gets feared. But here they get a lot of pressure on Nothy. Fortunately, he's able to port. I think this is the time where I told him to port because I noticed CC on our healer. So I was like, port. So it was, we're actually in comms, so it was a good time. But yeah, as you can see, they're dishing out a lot of damage, and this Shaman is just, you know, easily keeping them alive, right? So our only win condition is when we can CC. So here I back off, I see the Tide Totem, so I walk in, go for it. He drops grounding because he thinks I'm going to go for any form of CC on him. And so I back up. They end up swapping to me, which was kind of odd in my opinion, but then the DK starts spam gripping me. So I'm trying to get out of there as fast as I can. I got no defense. And here comes another grip. Very annoying. Death Knights are definitely a pain for Shamans, especially enhancement ones, because I can't quite move very well. But here I go for a Hex, get the Hex off, no issues. We pump a lot of damage into this Demon Hunter. get a lasso. There's the grounding totem, so I try and kill it as soon as possible. There's the nether walk. We get another fear onto the shaman. So, and then there's the mortal coil right after. So this shaman's kind of like in a little bit of a panic, but at the same time, we don't really have any like execute, right? So we're kind of fishing for just some raw damage going out. So here the demon hunter's kind of kiting, but at the same time, not really. He was running away, but then he stopped, and here I go for another hex. Get the hex off, and we just start pushing some more damage. Like, that's all we can do. Our only CC on the healer is going to be hex and fears. So I have to watch for tremor totems. There's another fear on the shaman. For some reason, I got the strangulate. I'm not quite too sure why he did that, but then Nathi gets a bunch of chaos bolts and just finishes him off. So this comp is definitely fun. And then in the last match here coming up in a second, you'll see that we just overrun the team. And you know, it happens. It happens. But yeah, this was one crazy match that was awesome. So you'll just see we start off kind of peeling back, so they pop everything. There's the defense, there's everything. I start moving towards the hunter because I want to deal damage to him, right? I don't want to be getting caught up in any cleave from the Ret Paladin, but the Ret Pally pulls back a little bit. And here I just start pumping onto this hunter, and so does Nathi, and you'll see that they don't kill the Sky Fury. I get a hex onto the priest, right? And here comes so much damage from Nathi. There's the bubble, so I switch right off to the hunter. He starts casting again, and I lasso, get a whole bunch of damage. Sunder, he's down to 1%. He gets turtle off, and yeah. So you can see we put them right onto the back foot instantly. And there goes the Ret Pally. But yeah, that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully you'll enjoy seeing more of this Destro Enhance, because we'll definitely be playing more of it. But yeah, that is it for the video. Thanks so much. Hopefully you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!